Remote viewing without a net. Hi there, crypto fans. Hi there, remote viewing fans. Dick Allgire here. A beautiful day at Ethereum Place. We're going to try a little experiment. I'm going to publish a full remote viewing session under blind protocol and let you see it before we know what the feedback is. So you're not going to know what this target is. I don't know what it is. I'm only given this target ID, J6A9-M0B9. So that's what we know. J6A9-M0B9, kind of like the flying Wallendas, like Carl Wallenda goes up on a tightrope with just a pole and there's no net below. He could fall, I could fall, I could totally bomb this session. So without knowing what the target is, can you watch me perform at the whiteboard and then try to glean from my mental machinations as I draw stuff and ideas come to me in the remote viewing protocol at the whiteboard? Will you be able to watch this and then figure out what was that target? What was he talking about? You'll have to wait a few days because it will be officially released at ffgrv.com on our private site, ffgrv.com. And I'll put it out on YouTube shortly after that too, so you can all see it. But here's the experiment. Without a net, I'm going to work this remote viewing target. You won't get feedback right away. You're going to have to wait, but you can see the process. That's all a remote viewer gets, a target ID like that. And then we use our protocol to see if we can tell you something of an interesting story. Let's do it. Let's see it. Let's do it. All right, away we go. J6A9-M0B9. J6, it doesn't have anything to do with J6, A9. It reminds me of Moab, M0, M0B9. 0B9. And my first visual on this is I see a man from behind. It's pretty bright. And he's got two people beside him and a bunch of people in a group. So, a whole bunch of people, but primarily these three. This one in particular feels like an important man. Feels like modern time or near future. It's not an ancient past target. This feels pretty contemporary. He would be a leader. He's smart. People are listening to him. He's getting advice from these people. He's exchanging ideas. He's trying to convince these people. So it's a group with a leader, with goals, with something that they're talking about, which is of great import, probably financially, politically. But yeah, political and financial ideas. He's the center of attention. I don't know if it's Trump, but someone like him, someone with concern about diplomacy, political aspirations, financial, something that could be a crisis. So two important advisors, a group of other people, something he's trying to motivate them to do or convince them. So that's a lot for just my first glance at targets. So we'll continue on. How did my glasses get on? I'm never aware of this. Okay. J6A9-M0B9. That's interesting. This is very conceptual. You know, when you were a kid and you'd have family night and you'd make a jigsaw puzzle And you'd have to find the pieces. You know, this little round thing, would, the keyhole would go in this, and then, oh, I'd find this piece with this shape, and you would fit them together. Now this, I don't know if that's countries. If it was countries, it would be Europe, but it's more the idea of a puzzle. Did I spell puzzle right? It's puzzle, E-L. Puzzle pieces, and the idea that these have to harmonize. So there's a whole bunch of things that fit together like a puzzle, and then they have to harmonize. And it's very important that they're interlocking, interdependent. One, like if this is doing this, then this has to do this, and they all affect each other. So the idea of this puzzle pieces having to form, and that may be what the first guys were talking about, or it could just be metaphoric. One more, J6. Okay, last visual ideogram. As I saw at an angle, and the idea of a lot of numbers. I can't read the numbers, but I know there's a lot of zeros. So the idea of the debt clock, the debt bubble, debt clock. You know, they have that thing online, you can see they have, oh, this is how much this is going. Tick, 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 it's $37 trillion, it's almost $38 trillion. And the unsecured debt and what's owed to Social Security, all these numbers. So the debt clock. So we've got people in a meeting that are doing high-level decision-making on a financial and political basis, puzzle pieces, and the debt clock. So that's my first entree into this target, J6A9M0B9. So as I continue to work this, I don't get the idea that this is one place, one event. Like, I'm not going to see one thing like, what's the structure with the tall spires and what did they do there? This is an ongoing thing. There's not just one location, there's not just one event. So in way of an S3, I would get the board with a lot of numbers, a lot of zeros, and that's the debt clock. And it's ticking. They got to do something about it. And then I've got the puzzle pieces, and they're interlocking, and it can't just be, each piece has to fit. So the puzzle. And I know I'm getting target contact because I can't spell. Can't spell worth a damn. Also get airplane stuff like jet, private jet, not a commercial jet. This would be rich man's jet. The type of private jet that rich men would fly to places to go make important decisions. You know, and I don't know why I don't think this is primarily a jet aircraft target, but yeah, I get cold metal, aluminum, smells of jet fuel, high altitude, slipstream, people flying places in jets to do things, to make decisions. More on these people. Big angular table. A lot of people sitting around this table. Now, in these days, there's a lot of meetings that are done online, that are done on Zoom, that are done paperless. This is not that. This is a table where they actually have papers. And the papers are important. The papers are documents that need to be signed, and they're physical papers, and the wording is very important. And some of the people here are translators. They're making sure that that the language is very specific and precise. And the translators have to be very careful. And the documents are translated. The documents are important because the documents are like agreements, treaties, could be tariff stuff, financial stuff that they have to dot all the I's and cross all the T's and get the translations right. And then there have to be signatories. And these people here would be like ministers, not ministers in the sense of religious ministers, ministers like finance ministers, trade representatives, diplomats, presidents, important people that sign papers, that read the papers, and there will be agreements behind the scenes, and then there will be an agreement for the camera. And the agreement for the camera will be hashed out in private, and there will be private moments and private portions of this that won't be made public. Okay, so what is this all about? The debt clock and the puzzle. So let me see if I can be more specific here. More papers. Documents. This could be involving bonds, securities, just the general heading, paper assets. So I get this idea of the assets would be debt. Wash. It needs to be washed. The debt needs to be washed. It needs to be transferred to a clean, idea of clean, transferred to something clean. So, these are washed, they're transferred and cleaned, and they're transferred to a new asset class. And this whole thing is going to be financial sleight of hand. So, see How am I spelling this? Sleight of hand. The debt, the paper assets, the bonds, the securities are all washed and transferred to new clean assets in a very nimble financial sleight of hand. All of this being outside of my financial knowledge base, but it's coming to me as ideas as I work this remote viewing target. Okay. This is interesting because it's all very conceptual. I'm not getting like this is a place where this is happening. Yeah, more ideas coming to me like mixing. What are they mixing? They're mixing, it's high tech, very sophisticated, like they wouldn't call it this. This is too low class of a term, but money laundering. So it's a form of money laundering or laundering of the financial system in a sense. And there's precipitated by tumult. It's tumultuous. There's going to be a tumultuous process where debts and assets seem to be in disarray. But that's needed because it's going to come out the other end orderly. So tumult, disarray, it comes to order, out of order, chaos. So the chaos, the order out of chaos idea. In the end, yeah, it's orderly and it's neat, and it involves the debt bubble. How to resolve this? By assigning value to assets that go back to the puzzle piece. So I keep seeing this puzzle with the interlocking pieces. And so what they're doing here is assigning new value to different pieces, and it's a way to make the puzzle fit by creating disarray and assigning value from this piece to this piece, and things get lost in the shuffle. That's an idea I've got to look at. Keep that puzzle up there. Popping from now I see a chart. And the chart's going along. It's up and down. And then it goes down. And there's the moment that this is going to happen. There is there's a severe decline, like you would even call it a crash, and then a rebound. And what this involves, I don't know how to spell this. Rehypothecation. I don't know what that means. Rehypothecation. It would be to rehypothecate You're spelling when you're in remote viewing, words popping, you can't spell for damn. Okay. So it rehypothecates. This would be like something used as collateral to shore up another asset, to like convert. But that's the word, rehypothecate. Rehypothecate is there Latin? Hypothecate. Apothecary. Sounds like apothecary. Apothecary would be what a chemist, pharmacist does. The apothecary, they mix chemicals, they mix things to make a new compound, but it's not that. It doesn't involve chemicals. It's financial stuff. So they're going to rehypothecate something. Hypothecate would be collateral. Shore up. Yeah, convert, I said that, convert. And apothecate. I don't think it's Latin, I think it's Greek. And the Greek would be to mortgage, to like a promissory note. Mortgage or create a promissory note, which is all our money is anyway. So those are the words that I don't understand that are just bouncing around in my brain when I address this target. Repo, repossess, rehypothecate, convert, collateral, shore up, convert, mortgage, create a promissory note. Oh, and this is a severe decline, and then it reconstitutes, rehypothecates, and then it eventually makes its way back up to normal, but that would be the precipitating event. And should I go out on a limb and say what this is? It's got to involve US dollars, bonds, stocks. Okay. When this, see this chart again, when this happens, when that happens, there'll be a lot of dollar value that will, some of it will seem to go into thin air, like, okay, it'll seem to disappear. It'll be poof, like, well, okay, we lost that many trillions of value, and it will, it'll be written off. Like, oh, well, we're just writing that off. It'll be written off, but not really. It's got to go somewhere. It'll seem to disappear, and now I get this idea of, you know, some rich, powerful guy, and this is not a specific, I think this is metaphoric. Like holding that hand. He's in a good suit, and he's got some bulging pockets. So as this crashes and all this value seems to go poof, goodbye, a lot of it actually goes into guys like this, right into their pockets. So they got bulging. There's a very metaphor. I don't think that's an actual guy. That's a metaphoric thing. So it gets written off, goes. So this is an interesting target to work because it is so conceptual and metaphorical. And I'm trying to, so this system, a lot of images and ideas pop into my mind. Images of like servers, like a lot of computer stuff, a lot of institutional bank stuff, you know, the bank, satellite dishes, satellites up above, other servers over here, other computer system, a very high-tech system where value is going back and forth here. It's being transmitted up to space, down to here, over to here. It goes back and forth, and then it's transferred back to them. And it's a system that's humming along, and then something happens. Something bad happens. There's a glitch in the system. It could be like virus attack, cyber attack, like a cyber event, or it might just be a run where the computers are so fast that it can, you know, like cascading type of thing, a cascading breakup of this system. And then the idea that this needs to be walled off and isolated. So now from that complex system, which would be like the SWIFT system, the international banking, and now I get a more orderly thing, and this would be blockchain. But the idea that this needs to be this system is infected. So this one, it needs to be walled off, and this needs to be isolated. It needs to be, what's the medical term? Like your, escapes me, there's a word on the tip of my tongue, and that word is isolation. It'll come to me. It's not a term that they use in finance, but it applies here. Segregated? Kept sterile? This system is very sterile. It's very, functions beautifully, and it avoids the chaos of all this. Like, this would be the chaos, and this would be the order. And once the chaos really gets chaotic, it needs to separate, and this becomes the orderly system where all the puzzle pieces will fit perfectly to rehypothecate something. That was live, folks. A lot of that was coming to me right on the spot, so it might all just be, but we'll see. Interesting target, not anything I could grab onto physically, not one person except this first guy. Oh, and there's one thing that I saw when I was doing the paper session that I think there's a logo. I don't know the color. And it's see if anything matches that, like an arcing colorful logo that I just got a glimpse of, but I saw that a couple times. So that's this target, J6A9-M0B9. A lot of conceptual stuff. Rehypothecation, segregate, keep it sterile, keep it orderly, order out of chaos, some new financial thing. Okay, there you have it. Whew. That was something, boy.